Welcome to the Open to Hope Show. I'm your host, Dr. Gloria Horsley, with my daughter and co-host,
Dr. Heidi Horsley.
Heidi. We're going to be talking about an important topic today because we're going to be talking about spirituality with a very spiritual, wonderful guy that we know.
Yes, so, Mom, we're going to be talking about embracing hope, how spirituality supports the grieving process. And our guest today is someone we've had on before, Dr. Eric Brewer. He knows a lot about this. So Dr. Eric Brewer is the founder and senior pastor of Transform Church Ministries. He is a COVID survivor and a widower. His doctoral dissertation was on healing hidden wounds, the resilience of Black men, and the impact of their spirituality upon their grief recovery. He founded and leads a national weekly support group for Black widowers, and he is the author of this phenomenal book,
From Grief to Growth, a 31-day journey of healing and inspiration. Fabulous book. You're going to want to get this, especially after you hear Eric.
Absolutely. So welcome to our show, Eric.
My pleasure. Thank you for the invite, Heidi and Gloria.
It's so great to have you on today,
Yes.
Eric. Well, spirituality is kind of your thing, right?
Yes.
How does it fit into the grieving process? I know a lot of people are mad at God.
I know. And when a life change happens that is just traumatic, you want to blame. And, of course, I think about Job's wife said, just curse God and die, But that's not the case. The Bible reads, blessed are those that mourn, for they shall be comforted. And the more you mourn, the more you are transparent and share your pain and your hurt. I believe the more you are marching toward your healing and wholeness.
Let's stop with that again. The more you express your hurt, the more you're marching towards healing.
Yes.
And I'm just thinking, to backtrack a little bit, Eric, you've had a couple of very significant losses in your life.
Yes. I'm a COVID survivor and widower. I was made a widower in 2020. And of course, I lost my father 18 years ago as of next week. And they were both sudden losses. Mm-hmm. And with my late wife, like, God, why me? I work for the company. I've been working for you for 30 years. And this happens to the pastor. And I could have blamed God and became bitter, but I ended up becoming better. Mm-hmm. Because we don't know when our time is up. And I believe what I preach. And this is where your faith, where the rubber meets the road. This is where your faith has to kick in. If you believe that there's a heaven, if you believe that your good works will follow you into eternity, then when you experience loss, this is part of our human experience. Loss, grief is universal.
But it takes your breath away.
It
takes
does.
you.
It knocks the wind out of you.
It knocks you down, and it's hard.
It's very hard because in my situation, I didn't see it coming. And it's part of life. And I've discovered that in my loss, I didn't truly discover my own strength and who I am. Yes, I'm a pastor. It's easy to pastor and preach and encourage other folks when all is well. Mm-hmm. But what happens when trouble is at your door and your faith is challenged? Do I believe what I preach? Do I believe what I read? And so I had to make that decision that I believe what I preach. It was an easy decision. And I knew that Holly was in a better place. And I knew I had to move forward because I had a young daughter to live for. And I knew that there's purpose on my life. Mm-hmm. And so when your faith has been shaken to the root and the foundation seems like it's cracking, don't give up. Don't lose hope. You trust God. Trust whatever faith system that you believe in.
Yeah, let's stop at that faith system that you believe in, because I found, particularly when my son was killed, that I told my bishop, I was raised a Mormon, and I told my bishop that I did not find the scriptures helpful. And I said, I just don't, because I wasn't a scriptorian or anything. I just didn't find it there. It wasn't living for me. And I said, the scriptures aren't helping me, but the church is helping me a great deal.
Right.
And he said, what do you mean? And I said, the people. He said, Gloria, the church is the people.
Right. Yes. Yes.
I'm like, well,
yes.
because they were so loving and so wonderful and so supportive and so giving. And,
Yes.
But I was looking at, I should be able to read something that's going to tell me why this happened.
Right. And we don't know the whys. We don't understand why did this happen to me personally. And I just think about in Job, I studied and read Job so many times, and there's times I felt like Job. But in the end of the first chapter it said, and Job did not charge God foolishly. He didn't blame God. He lost everything.
Right.
And that's the easy, lowest fruit to say, I'm going to just blame God. But there's a deeper lesson of life. In one of my poems, I say, it broke my heart but fixed my vision.
Oh, talk about that. It broke my heart.
The loss of my late wife, it broke my heart. But it fixed my vision. The Bible teaches to number our days that I may know him. The things that I took for granted, the things that I didn't appreciate to its fullest, I now appreciate. I'm very mindful of my days. I'm very mindful of my time. When I went out to eat for the first time, I used to tell a story after my becoming a widower, and once the restrictions were raised from COVID, I'm sitting in a restaurant, I see so many couples on their phone, not talking to each other. And the only reason why they're doing that, because they're taking for granted their time.
Yeah.
And if they knew that their time together is limited, there's no email, there's no text message, there's no game, there's not anything on that phone that's more important than your spouse, the person across the table from you. And so when you start to be mindful of the time, the quality of time we spend together. So, yes, the loss of my late wife broke my heart, but it fixed my vision. And
I like that.
So I am very appreciative of relationships, because relationships matter.
Yep.
And family is all that we have.
Yeah. You put everything in perspective.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. It reminds me of post-traumatic growth that we have.
Yes.
The ways that we grow from our losses.
Yes.
Now, I want to ask you, because not everyone has this religious community, and some people have left their community that they did have. How do I'm listening to you and I'm thinking, I maybe should touch religion again, or how do I go about it?
I think you have to re-engage your religious community. You have to jumpstart your faith again, because regardless who you are, you can be in your faith for years, be a very mature person, not a babe, but a mature person. It will shake everyone to their core. And you're going to need to be jump-started because it's going to short-circuit your battery, that loss. But once you get your footing again, engage into a faith community. Faith comes by hearing. So you got to be in a place where you can hear encouraging word that will speak to your heart and mend your broken heart, and stop the bleeding, to mend that wound, the hole in your soul. For me, only God can fill the hole in your soul.
Well, and maybe if people have fallen away from their faith and maybe there's other places they can go. They don't need to go back to the faith that they were raised in if they don't feel like it's a fit anymore.
Absolutely in that situation. I would say go to a loving community that you can participate in community, where there's someone that's checking on you, whatever, bring you food, whatever your needs, your emotional needs are being met. Let's go there. a safe space where your emotional needs are being spoken to.
I like that. You know, I am thinking about the fact that you are online. And you have a community. How do people get a hold of you online?
Well, you can find me on my website, drericbrewer.com. I have several, a YouTube channel. I have several messages of hope for those who are grieving. Of course, my church, Transform Church Global Ministries, and I speak at different other
Now,
churches.
Do you
Yes.
videotape your church? Your
I do.
Transform?
I do. On YouTube. It's on YouTube.
I love that.
Okay,
Oh,
so
my
people can
teaching.
watch your church.
You can watch
I
my
love
services,
That. I
yes.
love that.
Yes.
Well, some people are maybe Jewish or
Right.
Hindu or whatever. Maybe the time to reconnect. I don't know.
Absolutely. That's why I say your faith systems. Grief is universal. Loss is loss. And regardless of whatever faith you practice, your faith has to be able to speak to you, encourage you in your loss, be able to support you in your loss. If it does not, then why you believe? You know, so when your faith is shaken, what do you believe? Why do you believe? Who do you believe?
It definitely puts you in an existential crisis. I know when my brother died, I asked all those questions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I ask the same questions. And at the end of the day, I believe what I've been teaching, what I've been taught, and I didn't see this coming. And even though it caught me by surprise, it did not catch God by surprise.
Talk about that.
Because on every tombstone, there's a birth date and a death date. And there's a dash. And that dash represents life. And a lot of people are focused on the death date, but it's what do you do with the dash in between your birth date and your death date? We don't know the time.
Right.
And that's why it's so important that we live our life to the fullest and we appreciate every moment and serve for the greater good of humanity. I believe that you're not here just to suck up air and to fill a pew in a church or a seat, a chair, but there's something greater for your existence, for the greater good of humanity.
I'm working on that. I think peer support and community are so important, and I do get concerned today about the lack of attendance at church and the lack of community for people. I really get concerned about people out there who aren't getting support.
Yeah, and unfortunately, we live in a high-tech, low-touch world.
Yeah.
Where we have garage door openers, we pull into our garages, and we don't know our neighbors, we don't share dinner. And so be intentional in establishing, learning your neighbors, developing that community. And even though there's online support groups, and that's good, I have an online church, but there's also need to be touch, where someone can give you a hug, where you can go somewhere and actually be able to physically touch someone.
You know, it's interesting, 40 years ago, or maybe 50 years ago, when I was in nursing, one of the things we said at that time, and that was the beginnings of technology, we said all the time, high tech, high touch. And we were trying to touch our patients.
Right.
And made an effort to do that. And now, if you get hospice care, you're not necessarily allowed to touch the patient.
Right.
You know, people who just come in to serve. So we've moved, you know, away from that high touch. And with the me thing and all that, can you hug an employee?
Right.
You know, can you touch somebody?
Yeah. I know the gender thing, and so there's safeguards, of course. My wife will hug the women, I hug the men. So I understand that. But unfortunately, that's the culture and society we live in, and people need to be embraced. So family, keep your relationships current. Don't let weeks and months go without talking to someone. Look around in your circle, your community, who have I not heard from, and reach out to them. And just love on them.
Well, Eric, I had a party. I go to Arizona. I went to Arizona for the winter last year, and I had a party, and I didn't know my neighbors. and I put invitations in everybody's mailbox and said, "Hi, I'm having a party. Come over to this address." I didn't know a lot of the people at the party. I had no idea who they were. I wanted to bring the community together
Right.
and the neighborhood together.
Right.
You know?
That's great.
So
That's
Yeah.
great.
You know, the other thing, just shaking hands.
Right.
Because of COVID, people are not
I know,
shaking hands
I know,
anymore.
hugging anymore,
And there's
yeah.
something actually about which is called a galvanic skin response.
Yes.
When you touch my skin and you touch
Yeah.
your skin, there's
Yes.
an actual response that happens in the brain.
Yes.
That is very positive for
Yes.
good hormones. So I like the idea of asking people if you can hug them.
Right.
If they're
Absolutely.
male.
that's important.
Yes.
I was at church one day after my son had died, and I went up. This is before we weren't hugging people, and I went up and hugged this guy and said, "I'm so sorry about your daughter." And he said, "Thank you so much. That's one of the best things that's happened to me."
Wow.
You know, just being able to touch. So I wanted to ask you. You're going to take a Christian approach. Can you give us a little? Maybe what your favorite scriptures are for grief and loss, and give us a little 5-minute sermon.
Oh my goodness.
What's your favorite sermon? You got 10 minutes.
Oh, I got 10 minutes left. You know, one of my favorite sermons is entitled "I'm Stronger Than the Storm."
Okay.
And when Jesus was on board the ship in Mark 4, he said, "Let us go over to the other side." And the disciples get on board the ship, and the waves start coming. He said, "Master, don't you care that we perish?" And Peter, he thought they was going to drown, and he says, "Ye of little faith," and he speaks to the wind, said, "Peace, be still." And when I look at that text, the disciples had enough faith to call on Jesus. But the issue is they forgot what he said. You're going to make it to the other side. We're going to go to the other side. And we all experience storms. And the winds come and the waves seem like, and you may feel overwhelmed like you're going to drown. But you're not going to drown because Jesus is on board the ship. The one that keepeth Israel neither sleeps nor slumbers. God knows exactly what you are going through. And even though you may feel that God is silent, that he was sound asleep, Christ was silent on the bottom of the ship, but God knows exactly what you're going through. He knows exactly who you are. He knows your loss. And like I said, it may have caught you by surprise, but it did not catch God by surprise. And Jesus is awakened by the disciples. Now look, the wind is blowing. The storm is tossing the ship to and fro. Jesus was not awakened by the storm. He was awakened by the call of the disciples. See, a lot of times we think because we're going through a storm that God's just to come down and just rescue and just cause peace. But the truth of the matter, he was awakened by the cry of the disciples. So when you cry out to God, when you pray, God, I believe God hears you. You just can't be to island to yourself. I'm not going to church anymore, and I just need God to rescue. No, pray to him. Cry out to him. And then Jesus came and said, "Peace, be still." And I believe that God is going to speak peace to every storm. You may have experienced losses this year. You may be going through a situation. You may have lost your job, lost your home, lost a spouse, lost a child, lost a parent. Whatever loss it is, because loss is loss. God wants to speak peace to your life, that you are stronger than a storm. There's a poem I wrote when I experienced my first Thanksgiving without my late wife. It's called "The Empty Chair." And I said, as I stare at the empty chair and I go through all of my emotional hurts and what I'm experiencing and truths at that moment. But I recognize by the end, as I went through all of these, all my emotions, all my feelings, I said, that empty chair, Jesus is sitting right there. And so I'm not sitting alone looking at an empty chair. I remember that first Christmas without my late wife. I didn't want to celebrate Christmas, the Advent season, the season of hope. Her birthday was December 26th. I didn't want to celebrate. I didn't want to. It's nothing Christmas, all right? I always wanted to be just a bitter Grinch who stole Christmas, all right? But my therapist said, if you don't celebrate Christmas, you'll never celebrate Christmas. And I said, you know what? You're right. So I put up a tree. I didn't fully decorate it. But you know what? I had to deal with that empty chair. And some of you right now, you have an empty chair. And if you feel that life is not fair, I want you to recognize you are stronger than the storm. You're going to make it. You're going to make it to the other side. You're not only going to make it, you're not only going to survive, but you're going to thrive. And I speak peace to your life right now. And so as we finish another year, another month, another week, we finish it stronger. We're strong. We're going to finish this year strong. We're going to finish this month strong. We're going to finish this week. People used to ask, how are you doing? When I didn't feel like saying all is well, I said I'm getting better every day. And that is your confession. I'm getting better every day. How are you doing? I'm getting better. Even though you feel like the world is against you, that life is against you, you feel crushed. I'm getting better every day. Can you say that? I'm getting better every day. And you keep saying that. And you keep living. Jesus taught his disciples, give us this day our daily bread. And so I thank God for the bread that's sufficient today. I thank God that I'm living today, my daily provision right now. If I can just get through this one day. And sometimes depression, grief, and the chaos becomes so great, and you have to move it up from day. God, give me this hour. Give me this minute. If I could just make it through this minute. And if you get down, give me this second. Let me get through 30 seconds. And you just keep on living. You keep on marching forward and being intentional going forward because you are stronger than the storm.
I love that, Eric. And I just wanted to ask you if you had some advice out there for someone that just listened to that and they've had a loss and they're not sure how they're going to survive, what would you tell them right now?
You're going to survive.
Yeah.
You cannot accept the state that you're in right now. Your state is not your fate. Grief is a journey. It's not just a destination that I'm stuck here, like it's an island. No, it's a journey. And your destiny is greater than what you're going through right now. Your latter shall be greater. And the worst is over. And the best is yet to come.
Okay, Eric, now I'm going to let our audience know, and that you've had a little challenge, a big challenge recently with your second wife.
Yes. My current wife, we discovered in June that she has malignant breast cancer. And so I found love again. I'm living life, and we get this news that she had malignant breast cancer. And it hit harder. And so what I'm going to do with that? Do I run? Do I, shut down? No. I have to fight the good fight of faith and believe with her that, yes, this come to pass. And it's going to pass us by. And so here I am, 2 surgeries later. She's had a 6th treatment of chemo on yesterday, with 6 more to go halfway through. And they're amazed because she has not lost her hair.
Wow.
And in fact, we had prepared. She had bought 3 wigs, and she was wearing what's going to happen. And she actually have growth because she had dyed her hair before chemo, and she got like 2 inches of growth in her hair from the gray. So her hair is actually growing in the midst of this. And we thank God for technology and what they're doing to...
She's your co-pastor.
Yes, she is. Mm-hmm. And she's a faith-filled spiritual woman. She's a lawyer, was a former judge, and she's an encouragement to others. And sometimes we go through things not just for us, but to be a testimony to someone else down the road. And one thing in this whole ordeal is my wife has been a blessing to other women who are in the infusion center, who are taking chemo, just if not kind words and prayer. And just even yesterday when I picked her up, another woman has cancer on the liver, and she said, "Can you pray for this woman right here? I met her today." And so we're doing ministry while we're receiving our own medical care. And so some things you go through, it's bigger than you, because there's someone who needs to hear your testimony that you survived, that you made it, that you fell in love again, that you continue to live, and that you're more than just a survivor, but you will thrive. And like I said, your latter shall be greater.
And you're a caregiver also, which is another challenge.
I am. And I laugh to myself because before my late wife passed, I started to cook in the last year of her life. And they used to laugh at me, my daughter, my late wife, and say, "You're experimenting on us." Now I am a phenomenal chef, a cook, and everyone loves my cooking, and I do most of the cooking. And I just thought about that. I was prepared even in the passing of my late wife and being to cook for my family, and even now cooking for my wife.
Eric, how can people get a hold of you and find you?
You can go to drericbrewer.com, where you can purchase my book on Amazon or on my website. I have a YouTube page. I have the church YouTube page, Transform Church Global Ministries. And thank you once again for the opportunity.
Thank you for being on the show, Eric. You're an amazing guy, and we love Tiffany, and we send her our great love. She's a remarkable lady.
Thank you.
Absolutely, Eric. I agree with my mom. Thank you so much. You're such an inspiration. It is so really inspiring how you have channeled your pain into purpose.
Yes.
And you really remind us what's important in life.
Yes.
So thank you.
Thank you.
You absolutely do. Well, Heidi and I want to thank everybody for joining us on this show today. And we always want to remind you that if you've lost hope, please lean on ours and till you find your own, and God bless.
Open to hope.
Open to hope.